A storm raged over the tiny village of Smiljan in 1856. Thunder tore across the sky, as if the heavens themselves were welcoming the child, who would one day command lightning. His mother whispered, "He will be a child of the storm." She was right. From the very beginning, Nikola Tesla saw the world differently. While other children played with wooden toys, he watched rivers turn wheels and imagined power flowing through the air itself. He could picture every invention in his mind, every screw, every spark before touching a single tool. To his teachers, he seemed possessed by something unreal, a mind too bright for the classroom's dim walls. Years later, in the heart of Europe, Tesla studied engineering but clashed with his professors. They said his visions of wireless power and rotating magnetic fields were impossible. He called impossibility a coward's word. The more they doubted him, the clearer the designs became in his head. Motors that could run forever on alternating current, electricity that could stretch across continents. But genius never travels an easy road. By his 20s, he was broke, lonely, and wandering the streets of Paris fixing telegraph equipment to survive. Yet even then, in the hum of copper wires and the scent of oil, he dreamed of something bigger, a world connected by invisible energy, free and pure. When chance opened a door to New York City, Tesla walked through with a single suitcase, 4 cents in his pocket, and a letter of recommendation that read, "You will find this man a genius." The city roared with the sound of progress. Steam engines choked the skyline, and the name Thomas Edison lit every street. Tesla joined Edison's workshop, where sparks flew day and night, but two visions collided. Edison wanted direct current, heavy and limited. Tesla dreamed of alternating current, light and infinite. Their partnership ended in betrayal and mockery. Out on the streets again, Tesla dug ditches for food. Yet every shovelful of dirt buried a failure and uncovered determination. By candlelight in a small rented lab, he built his AC motor, sleek, silent, and elegant. When he flipped the switch, coils began to dance, and for the first time, electricity flowed like a living river. Soon after, destiny introduced him to industrialist George Westinghouse, who saw what others could not, a revolution. Together they took on Edison in what history calls the War of Currents. Cities became battlegrounds of light, DC versus AC, Edison versus Tesla. Newspapers screamed, investors panicked, and Tesla stood calm amid the chaos. When Westinghouse's engineers doubted, Tesla tore up his own $1 million royalty contract just to save their dream. He didn't want money. He wanted a world electrified. At the 1893 Chicago World's Fair, when the lights flickered on, powered entirely by Tesla's alternating current, the crowd gasped. The night turned to day. Humanity crossed a threshold it could never return from. The Chicago World's Fair of 1893 changed everything. For the first time, millions saw the impossible come alive. The fairgrounds shone like a second sun, lamps without flame, motion without noise. People whispered Tesla's name as if it belonged to a magician, not a man. The newspapers called him the Wizard of the West. But for Tesla, that night wasn't triumph, it was a promise. He looked up at the illuminated sky and said softly, "One day this light will reach every home on Earth." Soon after, came the challenge that would define him, harnessing the power of Niagara Falls, the largest waterfall in the world, untamed and roaring like nature's heart itself. Edison said it couldn't be done, but Tesla, with his alternating current system, proved otherwise. In 1896, when the turbines began to spin and the lights of Buffalo, New York flickered on, humanity had entered a new era. For the first time, the power of nature flowed through wires, bringing light to cities miles away. The world cheered. Tesla had conquered the impossible, but success didn't bring peace. Fame attracted rivals, copycats, and manipulators. Tesla was never a businessman. He was a dreamer surrounded by sharks. Investors wanted profit, not vision. While Edison courted publicity and Westinghouse built empires, Tesla lived in hotels feeding pigeons, sketching impossible machines in his notebooks. He started dreaming beyond light, beyond Earth itself. He imagined transmitting power through the air, across oceans, through the very atmosphere. "Why bury wires," he said, "when the Earth itself can conduct energy?" His vision became the Wardenclyffe Tower, a massive, otherworldly structure on Long Island. To the press, it looked like madness. To Tesla, it was the beginning of a new civilization. He promised to deliver free wireless energy to the world, to end dependence on oil, coal, and greed. But free energy meant no money, and no money meant no investors. Enter J.P. Morgan, the iron-hearted banker who had once backed Edison. Morgan funded the tower, But when he realized Tesla's goal was to make power free for everyone, he pulled out instantly. "If anyone can draw on power, where do we put the meter?" he asked coldly. Without funding, construction halted. The tower rusted. Tesla's dream began to fade. By the early 1900s, Tesla was isolated. The man who lit the world now lived in darkness. He fed pigeons in Central Park, whispering to them like old friends. In his hotel room, he continued to write, filling page after page with formulas no one would see for decades. He spoke of death rays that could end wars, of machines that could read minds, of energy beamed from the Earth's core. Some called him insane. Others called him a prophet. In truth, he was both. A man too far ahead of his time to be understood by it. As the years passed, Tesla drifted into obscurity. The name once spoken with awe now faded into footnotes. The same world he had illuminated turned its gaze toward newer inventions. Cars, radios, airplanes, all born from the seeds he had planted, yet without his name attached. In his old age, Tesla lived alone in room 3327 of the New Yorker hotel. His only companions were the pigeons that visited his window each morning. He would nurse the injured ones, talk to them softly, and claim one white pigeon as his closest friend. He said, "I loved that pigeon as a man loves a woman. As long as I had her, my life had a meaning." He walked the city streets every night, dressed in a worn suit, feeding crumbs to birds as skyscrapers, powered by the electricity he once dreamed of, towered above him. The irony was cruel. The man who gave light to humanity spent his final days in the shadows. The man who made energy flow through cities could barely afford his next meal. But his mind never stopped. Even in solitude, he continued to dream. He envisioned vertical takeoff aircraft, global communication through wireless waves, and energy beamed from the atmosphere. Ideas that would later become the backbone of technologies we use every day. He wrote letters to world leaders, warning them about the destructive potential of science without ethics. The future, he said, belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, but also fear the power they hold. In January 1943, Nikola Tesla was found lifeless in his hotel room. He was 86, no family, no funeral, no riches, just a table of blueprints, a few broken gadgets, and the quiet hum of a world that had long forgotten him. But fate had one final twist. That same year, the U.S. Supreme Court restored Tesla's patents, recognizing him as the true inventor of radio, not Marconi. The truth at last had emerged from the shadows. And in the years that followed, something remarkable happened. Scientists, dreamers, and innovators began rediscovering Tesla's work, his visions of renewable energy, wireless communication, and electric propulsion. His notebooks inspired generations that came after, from engineers to entrepreneurs, from space pioneers to digital revolutionaries. Today, his name powers cars that drive without fuel, rockets that reach the stars, and technologies that connect billions. The man once mocked for chasing lightning has become the symbol of innovation itself. But perhaps Tesla's greatest legacy isn't his inventions, it's his spirit. The relentless pursuit of an idea, no matter how impossible it seems. The belief that knowledge is a gift meant to be shared, not sold. The courage to dream alone, even when the world turns its back. As we look at the glowing screens in our hands, the cities that shine brighter than the stars, we are still surrounded by Tesla's light. Nikola Tesla didn't just give us electricity, he gave us possibility. He taught humanity to reach beyond what's visible, to imagine what could be. Because true genius doesn't die, it only waits for the world to catch up. And if you're inspired by the forgotten genius who changed our world, dive into more stories like this on Zero to Founder, where we uncover how visionaries, dreamers, and misfits shape the future we live in today.